Tonight, Port Lincoln hit by a sudden freak storm and there's more wild weather on the way. And the upgrade is set to improve the region's already top shelf water quality.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Lightning, flash flooding and widespread power outages have ravaged Port Lincoln after a storm front hammered the lower EP. Traders along Liverpool Street were forced to use sandbags while hundreds of residents were left without power.
It only lasted a few minutes, but the impact was severe. The storm front hit the region in a sudden fury. Upwards of 10 millimetres was recorded in just a few minutes. Streets were left resembling lakes. Liverpool Street copped the brunt of it. The McDonald's car park was completely submerged. The drive-through lanes forced to close. Across the road, it was a similar story. The footpath and businesses left underwater. Sandbags deployed to prevent further damage. Traders were left furious by yet another flood affecting their business.
How many people can get into my premises today? We rely on foot traffic. You know, we're a service industry. No one can get in here. It's ridiculous.
Miles Stevens claims his car repair business continues to be left high and dry by the council's lack of action over fixing the issue.
I've spent over $100,000 insurance on my last two floods, let alone what Tony across here at McDonald's spent and Peter Kittles. They don't seem to care. They don't get it. They don't get that when we're not operating, we're not earning anything.
Meanwhile, over 500 customers were left in the dark due to a damaged power line in Duck Ponds. SA Power Networks worked throughout the afternoon to fix the problem. Although the clean-up for traders has started, the Weather Bureau says we're not out of the woods yet, forecasting up to another 35 millimetres of rain to splash down tomorrow. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
And as Jace mentioned, our region is preparing for more thunderstorms and damage as a significant rain band prepares to move across the region over the next couple of days. Towns across the northern Spencer Gulf and Eyre Peninsula could receive up to 70 millimetres of rainfall.
Warm, sunny skies grace Whyalla today, but it's a case of what lies beyond the horizon that has the Weather Bureau interested. A storm band is brewing in the west of the state and is growing before it's set to cross over our region later tonight.
And push up across right throughout Eyre Peninsula and then continue on across central and eastern districts during Friday morning.
The band will be a significant event with rain and thunderstorms predicted throughout Friday. The Weather Bureau predicts areas in the upper Spencer Gulf can expect a substantial drenching, up to 70 mils in some areas. 40
to 70 millimetres across agricultural areas north of about Kimber to Keith. So that includes the Whyalla and northern Spencer Gulf area where over the next 3 days.
Over the weekend, we can expect the west to clear, but there's a chance of isolated showers across the two-day break. And by the middle of next week, sunny skies and a return to summer weather is in store.
That shower activity should be easing, and it'll just be back to just a light shower by Monday, Tuesday next week, and then clearing up to dry conditions from Wednesday onwards.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
And Abby Donaldson will have a comprehensive weather forecast a little later in the bulletin. A man has been killed on a farm after being crushed by a silo at Kokata on the Eyre Peninsula. Just before 11 a.m, emergency services were called to the property southwest of Woodner after a man was pinned underneath a falling silo. Attempts to rescue the man failed. It's understood the accident occurred while he was trying to load grain into the silo. SafeWork SA is investigating. A 38-year-old Port Pirie man has been arrested for drug trafficking. His arrest follows a raid on a property yesterday where officers uncovered around 12 grams of a crystal substance believed to be methamphetamine. He was charged with trafficking a controlled drug and refused bail. He appeared in the Port Pirie Magistrates Court today. Passionate anti-nuclear campaigners from the region will head to Parliament House in the city this weekend to rally against nuclear waste dumps. They voiced their concerns about waste facilities proposed for Kimber and Hawker.
Don't dump on SA are the words many will be chanting on Saturday morning. The Parliament House steps will be filled with many outraged individuals from Kimber, Hawker and Port Augusta who are all in fierce opposition to our region playing host to nuclear waste.
How can anyone be happy with a little bit of money for today's pleasures at the risk of losing everything in terms of our future.
Hawker local Dr Susie Anderson will be part of Saturday's campaign. She says the Flinders Ranges should remain untouched. She's concerned a facility proposed for either Kimber or Hawker could affect tourism.
Tourists have anecdotally said, and filmmakers have anecdotally said, that they won't come to the Flinders Ranges if there's a nuclear waste facility there.
Separate to the state government's nuclear dump proposal rejected in June this year, a national radioactive waste management facility would store low-level radioactive materials for hundreds of years. Some intermediate level waste would also be temporarily kept at the site.
I don't think anyone, no well-meaning politician or scientist of today, can effectively legislate for the future.
Levine, a local Adnyamathanha person, says her concern is accessing the land.
So when we look at landscape, that is our storybook. To have that and to have a place where we cannot go, the story is no more.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Police are on the hunt for thieves responsible for taking a racing bike from Port Pirie overnight. Officers say the 2017 KTM racing bike was pinched while it was parked on the back of a ute on the corner of the Terrace and Afton Street. The bike doesn't have a registration plate, but it can be easily identified by its bright orange stickers and its distinctive number 24 near the handlebars. Anyone with information is urged to come forward. We'll stay with us after the break. Concerns about the Port Pirie Regional Council's overspending on the upgrade of the CBD. That's next. Port Pirie Regional Council has revealed it's overspent thousands of dollars on major upgrades across the town. Council says it's still in a good and stable financial situation, maintaining its promise to deliver redevelopments in the pipeline on time and on budget.
Port Pirie's certainly undergone a transformation over the past 12 months, with a revamped CBD and a new sporting precinct on the way. Council initially budgeted for $3.5 million for the CBD upgrade, but now...
It was a $4 million project and we didn't allow for the $432,000 shortfall.
It says running into unforeseen construction problems is believed to be behind the sizable gap.
Once we actually started digging down, we probably found things that we weren't expecting, even though we'd done some prior work with drainage.
It's hoped the overspend won't affect the new sports precinct development, with Council now budgeting tighter than ever.
Now we're currently on time, ahead of time, and we're certainly ahead of budget. There's been a lot of work going to making sure that we capitalise on any savings where we possibly can.
And Council's now promising the $432,000 shortfall won't influence a rate increase in the next financial plan.
Our forecast in our long-term plan hasn't changed and it won't change.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
The water quality across the Gulf is set to be improved, with SA Water investing in a multi-million-dollar upgrade of its treatment plant at Morgan. The company says the filtration system will be modernised to ensure the region's water lives up to its reputation.
Clean drinking water is something we often take for granted, but behind the scenes, a lot of work goes into making sure it's tip-top for drinking and cleaning. And it's a water treatment plant near Morgan that does that job.
We do a blind tasting test of our waters across the state. We do it regularly throughout the year, and the water from Morgan consistently rates as the drinking water of choice.
$15 million is set to be spent on keeping that reputation in high order. By the end of 2018, the upgrade will allow the treatment plant to continue to meet increasing demand. The renovation will also focus on water quality, with the water purification process to be improved.
Give us a greater capacity to help us remove some of the impurities and ensure that we have even better water.
From plant to pipeline, nearly 30 million litres of water passes through this process before being distributed to 130,000 customers. This represents 40% of SA Water's total consumption across regional South Australia. With numbers this big, it's important the water purification process is always at its best.
And I guess that's really important for community health and wellbeing, and it is our top priority at SA Water.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Work is underway on Tasman Terrace in Port Lincoln to upgrade lighting along the road in time for Christmas carols. The new LED lights will be automated and change colours during different times of the year.
It'll be great, and not just Christmas lights. We can theme them for different events. So when it's a pink or a white theme or a red theme or a green theme, we'll be able to change the colours of the lights, and it'll be a spectacular long-term investment.
The lights will also feature as part of the Tunarama Festival in January. Well, stay with us after the break. The Port Augusta community marking the beginning of the festive season. That's next. Organisers of Port Lincoln's Salt Festival are preparing to launch next year's event after the success of its inaugural show. The festival showcased over 100 exhibitions, including one from international artist Jeff Bridges.
We'll be looking to get both state, national, international artists into the mix. Last year we were blown away. We had a goal of 30 events, which then just we hit that goal and it just didn't stop. So I'm thinking that this year we can expect something similar.
The Salt Festival has also been nominated for a People's Choice Award as part of Arts SA's Ruby Awards. The festive season is just around the corner for Port Augusta as the annual Christmas Tree Festival opened its doors this morning. The community's ornaments, trees and light creations are now on display for all to enjoy.
A festive display for everyone.
It's really nice, it's colourful, it brings a nice warm vibe, so Christmas is definitely here now.
Port Augusta's 4-day Christmas Tree Festival marks the start of the town's festive season after months of planning. Local businesses and schools put forward their best Christmas tree work.
It's really good, brings a little bit of Christmas vibe to our workshop as well, getting to make that and get everyone involved, which was nice.
Organisers estimate 70 trees are a part of this year's festival, with funds from the Gold Coin entry going towards Port Augusta's special school.
This year we've decided that no, we'll stay local, so the money will go locally.
This tree is the handiwork of Port Augusta High School students.
This was all done by the kids. All those ornaments are handmade.
It has families excited for tomorrow night's Christmas pageant.
So looking forward to take my 2 little ones.
The long-held Port Augusta tradition is open until Sunday.
Well, we've been doing it for 14 years, but as I said, it was happening when I was a child.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Not long now. Well, change of pace, time to see what's biting around the Gulf. Here's Fish and Tips.
Welcome to another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. It's a great time to be alive at the moment. The yellowfin whiting have arrived. They're big in size. All of the outlet creeks have got big numbers to be had. So remember the one tip with yellowfin whiting, wait there to the very last minute. They're the last ones to leave the party. Blue swimmer crabs are alright. You have to go by the gutters, in the channels and the deeper marks. You'll always have a good run with those.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, the heat's starting to turn on, that's bringing the crabs on. Crabs are nice and full of meat, but there are a lot of small ones and some she-backs, so yeah, please return those she-backs in there. All the King George whiting at the moment, they've basically vacated the area, but the shitties have moved in, but also the silver whitings, nice big fat plump ones. Big high tides in the morning have been particularly good. Kingfish can still be found, but very sparse at the moment.
Well, unfortunately we've had dodge tides and bad weather the last couple of days, so not a lot of fish have been coming in, but there is still some good schools of salmon out towards the Point Lowly Rocky Points, especially around the lighthouse area. Their fish are busting up there throughout the day, so it's just a matter of getting down there, setting it out and waiting for the fish to start busting up and get amongst them. The best to catch the salmon have definitely been on the lures, flicking some nice lures out in front of them. They've been hitting them really well. For the boat anglers, still a lot of crabs around Whyalla, but a lot of small ones. Certainly got to pick through the size limits. Some King George whiting down towards Mount Young and a little bit further south. And again, the snapper ban lifts on December the 15th, so no snapper action.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips here in Port Lincoln. We'll start locally in the bay. There's been lots of people trying for blue swimmer crabs lately. A few crabs have been caught, but they haven't moved in thick numbers yet. Also in the bay there's been a few squid and a few whiting. The whiting have been mainly up along the north shore. Moving way down south towards the south Neptunes, there's been some really good nanagai caught down that way, and there was a couple of tuna caught down that way over the weekend as well. Moving over to the Coffin Bay side, the Farm Beach grounds have been producing a few whiting, but a little bit patchy, so you have to move around to try and find the fish over there. There has been a couple of school shark caught in close around Farm Beach, which isn't as common as the gummy sharks. And down on the surf beach of Gunya, there have been some salmon, but they've been a little bit hit and miss. Some crews are doing really well. And that's all for Fishing Tips. We'll see you again next week with more tips.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll have all the local weather details with Abby Donaldson. And Abby, will we see more of this wet weather?
Yes, Fraser. Well, after a wild day of storms, rain and even flooding in areas, it seems that rain will stay around for the first few days of summer. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. Taking a look at the weather now. While we felt some very hot and humid conditions around the region today, there was heavy falls of rain and isolated thunderstorms further west, as we saw that rain packed a punch in Port Lincoln with flooding in areas. Further up the Gulf, Port Augusta and Whyalla saw temps rise into the mid-30s, and some scattered showers and storms hit Broken Hill in the afternoon, 36 the max there. To the satellite now, and thick cloud cover over eastern South Australia, where the trough is generating an area of showers and thunderstorms. More cloud in the west under a region of low pressure is bringing more thunderstorms to the state's west, which is the reason behind the weather around Port Lincoln, and skies are clearer in the north under a weak high. On the Gulf waters, strong south to southwesterly winds between 20 and 30 knots tomorrow. Seas at 2 metres with a south-southwesterly swell, so take care. And the sun will pop up just after 6 with sunset at 8:14. Well, it's the first day of summer, but it's not going to feel like it. Temps will dip quite a lot tomorrow as rain and thunderstorms move east across South Australia. And some of those thunderstorms may be severe. Port Augusta is heading for a top of just 23 degrees. Meanwhile, more heavy rain is on the way for Port Lincoln with up to 35 millimetres forecast and just 19 the top there. Similar conditions for Port Pirie, but slightly warmer, heading for a top of 24 degrees. But it's going to be really wet in Cleve with up to 45 millimetres of rain forecast tomorrow. It'll remain quite warm in Broken Hill, heading for a max of 32 degrees with rain and stormy weather there too. The good news is that rain is expected to ease over the coming days in the west, but keep that brolly handy. There's a chance of scattered showers for Port Lincoln with temps to remain in the high teens, low 20s, but we won't see anywhere near as much rain from Saturday. It'll be a wet one in Cleve tomorrow before a shower or two for the weekend with temps reaching just 18 degrees. And a similar story for Woodna with that heavy rain to ease over the coming days for some fine weather on Monday. And it's going to be a wet one tomorrow further up the Gulf. There's a very high chance of rain in Whyalla with up to 40 millimetres forecast, but that should ease from Saturday with temps hovering around the low 20s. Stormy weather for Port Augusta tomorrow as well before showers clear up by Sunday, and we'll see a nice fine 24-degree day for Monday. And similar conditions for Kadina with heavy rain to ease over the weekend to a partly cloudy and fine day to start the working week. And finally, lots of rain for all centres tomorrow before showers clear over the weekend to a lovely day on Monday with Port Pirie heading for a max of 24 degrees. A similar story but much cooler in Clare, just 17 the top for Saturday with showers easing. And a stormy hot day for Broken Hill tomorrow before the weather finds up from Sunday, but temps will remain quite cool. So, Fraser, it seems like the worst of this rain and storms is yet to come, but we should get some relief by the beginning of next week. Talk about a wet start to summer.
It certainly is. Thanks, Abby. And that's all from the newsroom for now. Thanks for your company. I'll have some updates a little later this evening. Until then, enjoy your night. Good night.